Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with Festive Friday, and yep, it's the final 3 cards in the Kendras card challenge number 20 that I cut up at the beginning of October. Now, I did film this a few weeks ago. I filmed it after I filmed the last one of these Festive Fridays where I was sharing this, but I knew I had a few other projects that I wanted to share with you between, so this is a few weeks old, if you know what I mean. So this first one, which is card number 13, it's got these little squares, and I'm just trying to get the spacing right. So this is a bit fiddly to do, I will admit. And I use wet glue, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room. And then once I've glued them all down, stuck something heavy on top before I then chose my embellishments and pieces to finish off the card. So for those that don't know, there is a whole series of me making these cards. There's 15 cards in total, so these are the last 3, and there's other videos showing me making the cards. There's a video showing me putting the card kits together using the template and the sketches from Kendras Cards by Kendra, and it's called Kendra's Card Challenge KCC, and it's number 20. So I am using, for the whole of this series, the Kingston Crafts papers from their Christmas kit, and the Christmas paper pad, and then also the acetate pieces from the vellum and acetate kit. I didn't touch vellum at all. I was going to mix and match, but I ended up just using acetate for the whole way through this. Don't know why, just fancied it. I think probably because although the acetate are see-through to some extent, they're more opaque than the vellum, and there's quite a lot of pattern going through the designs, and I didn't really want that. So that's probably why I ended up, to be honest, once I'd opened up the acetate and started working with that, I just stuck with it for the whole thing every time I came out and brought this out. And I think I did this over the course of about 3 or 4, I think it was probably 4 crafting sessions is how I made this entire kit of cards to come together. And right at the end, there'll be a final photograph showing you all 15 cards. So that's the first one. For all of the cards apart from one, I did use the same paper in order to create the card blanks, and off to the left hand side there you can see a pouch, and that pouch has got like little scraps and bits and pieces that are left over of either the solid card or the pattern paper where I've got some little offcuts, etc. And I just grabbed that in order to decorate the insides of the cards. Right, we're on to card number 14, and I love this design with the diagonal stripes. I didn't quite get them straight, not quite, almost, but not quite. To be honest, it's quite forgiving, it doesn't really matter. And again, this is handmade cards. These are not, shop bought cards. They're where everything's done by a machine. They're done by a human, and I am human. Now, on Kendra's thing, it did suggest embossing the cardstock, but I decided I didn't really want it all embossing. I have done a video where I've done embossing on these cards. In fact, that was the last video. But instead, I decided, no, I'll add some pattern, but I'll use my scoreboard just to do some subtle lines and add texture that way. I thought it worked with the sort of like the check pattern that paper was. And then I just stuck it down flat. For this one, I've chosen some presents and then a floral feature. And then I wanted a sentiment, but I thought the sentiments were all a little bit too big. So what I ended up doing was just trimming it down a little bit and getting rid of the white space that's on the outside of the banner. So it just became a little bit slimmer. So it's a little reminder, your acetate pieces, you can still fiddle with them. You can still make them your own and adjust them as needed. Now, I did decide on both this one and I think I did it on all 3 of these cards. I now can't remember because, as I say, we recorded this a couple of weeks ago. I think that the banner on all 3 of them, I did end up mounting onto some cardstock. Yeah, I'm fairly confident I did it on the 3rd one as well. And part of that was I didn't want the pattern of the elements underneath coming through, and that's happened on a couple of the cards, and I just decided I didn't want that. I did fiddle at this point with various bits of ribbon or twine, and I ended up with this green baker's twine, and just created a nest of it underneath, like a messy nest underneath the sentiment, and then decided that I would just pop that up on some adhesive foam just to give it a little bit more dimension and to be able to cope with the wobbliness of the fact that I'd stuck that twine underneath. But I like that. I thought it just added a little bit of a different element. Now, all of Kendra's card sizing are for American cards, and I actually ended up making most, but not all. I did make a few square cards, but yeah, most of this kit I ended up doing with the American size, and that's fine. I haven't got envelopes that fit directly, but they'll absolutely fit in a 5x7 envelope. It doesn't matter that there's a little bit of gap around the edge, and it actually helps because they're all a little bit bulky. I have gone a little bit mad with dimension on this whole set of cards, because I'm currently looking at them all laid out at the moment, and all from the side angle I can just see how bulky they are. So they're definitely larger letter stamps will be required for UK postage, but you know, most of my cards do, and I don't mind. The reality is, yes, it's expensive to post things these days, but it's part of the joy of me making these cards is also the sending of the cards. And I know that not everybody does Christmas cards these days, and I love it. It's part of my Christmas joy. So I don't mind that it's going to cost me a bit of money to post these. It's fine. I mean, every year I say it's fine, and then the day comes to actually post the cards, and I do have a big gulp when I realise how much I've just spent on stamps. But, you know, it's all fine. It's all fine. Okay, this final card, that should have been a round element. You can probably see on the sketch there, but I decided instead to add my little nutcracker soldiers to the piece instead, and then I decided to put my sentiment at a jaunty angle across. Again, I wanted to use the twine in order to add in a little bit of softness because there's a lot of straight edges in this particular design. I did become bow challenged, which is what we call people in my friendship crafty group who can't tie bows, and I suddenly became bow challenged. But yeah, I did manage to then add it in. So again, this is me trying to come up with a way of making sure I can't see through the sentiment to the patterns underneath. It was just a little bit distracting. This hasn't bothered me on most of the cards that I made in this series, but for some reason at this point it was bothering me, and I actually layered up quite a few pieces of cardstock on that one, so it's quite a bulky, again, this is me doing chunky cards, it is quite a bulky sentiment, but it means it's quite strong, and especially since I've popped it on at that sort of like jaunty angle. Now, this one was a bit unusual that I'd chosen 2 layers that were the same colour, so I just ruffled up the edge just slightly, and because it's Kingston Crafts cardstock, it just exposes that white core, and it just gives another boundary, another frame, I suppose, to the card, and I thought it was quite cute. It worked well with this particular card. So all of my pattern paper card blanks, I've just added a white panel on the inside and then added scraps to embellish on the inside, and on this one I did actually add my little nutcracker soldier too. And that then is all 3 cards. I have loved making these cards. I think the colours are so pretty. I think having the acetate pieces there ready to go has made it so easy. I've not done any stamping in the whole of the series. I've done a teensy bit of die cutting, a little bit of embossing, but other than that, it's basically been sticking things down, and it's been a joy, an absolute joy to make them over the sort of like the 4 or 5 sessions that I did making these. I'm really pleased with them. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope it's not been too boring seeing the same papers coming out again and again, and the same elements. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do give me a like if you did. Those thumbs up really help. Please leave me a comment below. Obviously we are now fast approaching Christmas, so there might be a few more projects still to come. So subscribe, and thanks for watching.